Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Jensen, and today we'll be discussing a case about a whistleblower. And in this case, her name was Cynthia Cooper. She was an internal auditor at WorldCom. And anyway, we're going to be talking a little bit about her experience there and how she was able to follow the IMA standards for conflict resolution, and also kind of compare her actions to Dr. Badaracho's advice in his article entitled "We Don't Need Another Hero." Anyway, what kind of happened there at WorldCom was Miss Cooper, she heard a rumor that irregular accounting entries had been occurring, and she began to ask some questions. She received some pushback from Scott Sullivan, one of the top managers there, told her to quit asking questions. She started taking on the role of financial auditing, her and a couple members of her team, even though that responsibility had been taken care of by Arthur Anderson. And so she was able to find some evidence, and they eventually told the audit committee. And WorldCom went under. Their stock was taken off of the New York Stock Exchange. Anyway, the IMA conflict resolution gives a couple of steps. First of all, they counsel to not ignore ethical issues. In this case, she could have just very easily said, well, Arthur Anderson takes care of the financial auditing, so this is out of my scope. I don't need to look into it. But she had a hunch, and she followed it. It didn't really mention her protecting herself against retaliation. However, she did have a strategy going into it from the beginning. She worked without top management knowing what she was doing, and found ways around problems, and kind of kept under the radar for the most part. She couldn't really talk with management about this because she suspected that Scott Sullivan was involved, but she was able to talk with the audit committee and external auditors. And one thing to consider is that if resolution efforts are not successful, then one might consider disassociating from the organization. In this case, it didn't really matter too much to Miss Cooper because she fought it until the organization didn't exist anymore. But it's one thing to consider. So Dr. Badaracho in his article says, while certain ethical challenges require direct public action, quiet leadership is the best way to do the right thing in many cases. That's because quiet leadership is practical, effective, and sustainable. Quiet leaders prefer to pick their battles and fight them carefully rather than go down in a blaze of glory for a single dramatic effort. I think in this case that in certain aspects Miss Cooper did follow Dr. Badaracho's advice, and she was a quiet leader. But at the same time, she stepped up and she was a hero. And I'll go ahead and explain a little bit more about this. He gives 4 rules for quiet leadership. First of all, put things off till tomorrow. When she heard about this rumor, Miss Cooper, she didn't overreact. She did her research, and she bought herself some time, and she really made sure that she knew what she was doing. Pick your battles. Well, Mr. Sullivan asked her to stop asking questions, and so instead of fighting that right there, she found a way around him. She just worked under the radar without him knowing. And this goes into the third rule: bend the rules, don't break them. So she wasn't assigned to do the financial auditing, but she did them anyway. They didn't have access to the journal entries in the accounting system, but they found a way in. One of her team members did. And so find a compromise. Well, that's where she was kind of a hero, and she wasn't a quiet leader. Basically, in conclusion, I think that she was the hero that we needed at this time. There was many millions of investors' dollars at stake here. It received a lot of attention, and so I wouldn't say that she was a quiet hero, or she was a quiet leader, but she was a hero, and that's what the public needed. And so I think that she did a really good job at resolving this ethical dilemma. Even though she's labeled as a whistleblower, I think that a lot of people really look up to her for that.